I'm speechless.
Oh, this is so fun. I love what you guys are doing. This is just so cool.
This is The Studio, brought to you by the SLOARC Foundation, connecting Cal Poly architecture through entertainment, news, and scholarships since 2009. This is the home of Cal Poly students, alumni, faculty, and friends, where we discuss all things architecture, Cal Poly, and everything in between. Carly, welcome to the show and good evening.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. A little tired. I've been building a site model all day, but I feel energized, re-energized, hopefully, to keep working.
How's that coming along?
Yeah, my thesis is going well, and I have my huge deadline in like 2 days, and we're starting to set up our show tomorrow. And the whole gallery thing is going to be set up next week for my thesis.
That's awesome. And your show is going to be Wednesday at noon, right? In the Berg Gallery?
Yes.
Very exciting.
It's going to be great.
So are you more stressed for that show or for Chumash?
Definitely Chumash. I think
Really?
there will be, well, more influential people there. And I mean, more people will be at Chumash that actually like know the process of the thesis project and know what to expect. Whereas like a lot of people who will be coming on Wednesday will be other students, fellow students in architecture, as well as other just Cal Poly students in general, and maybe will not really have the same expectations as maybe like professionals and faculty and parents and people who have seen me go through this whole process. So
yeah, I guess I can see that. I would think though, I don't know, for me it seemed like the show, our studio show, was more stressful just because I had to have everything done, where Chumash was kind of like, well, it's done. Let me just figure out what I want to present, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Different takes. Yeah. So Chumash is coming up May 23rd and 24th. I will be there. Q will be there. We are going to be meeting a little before the show. In years past, it's been Haley and me primarily. Last year, Q did come with us and we covered the show as well. We're going to record the opening gala, like the speeches and everything that happens before the show opens, and then we will release that as a episode of the podcast. And then we'll go around and interview a few people and take pictures of all the projects. So if anyone hasn't seen the resource on sloarc.com/wiki, we have a whole section of past Chumash shows, and we've got hundreds of photographs from past years, and go check it out. So and then other Cal Poly news, the F-Stop is open again. So last time we talked, you hadn't been down there yet. Have you gotten down there yet?
Not in the past few days, no. I've been stuck in studio. But
I didn't think so.
After my show, though, I will make a point to stop down there and grab some coffee.
Yeah, your show's right there, just right around the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, the let's see, the AIAS posted an announcement saying the F-Stop was back open, and boy, the graphic they posted for this is so small. I was trying to read it again, but it's just not possible. There's information somewhere around the architecture building, probably. But it looks like it's open weekdays from 8 a.m. to midnight. I think that's what I'm seeing there. So those are long hours. My goodness. Yeah, it says they need help, and I would see why. Yeah, and it looks like Amanda Yee is maintaining it. Oh, so they've got freshly brewed coffee and hot tea, Wi-Fi, and a soothing lounge environment to work in. So, sounds pretty good. And then some other Cal Poly news. There's so I know you've heard this before because I should probably tell people we recorded this show a couple days ago, and we had some audio issues, and I really tried hard to save it because I know Carly is so incredibly busy, and it was beyond repair. I couldn't save it. So Carly has graciously and generously offered to re-record the show. And
No worries.
that's above and beyond. So last time we talked a little bit about this new rental ordinance in San Luis Obispo. And so now you live off campus, Carly.
I do.
And how has your housing situation been? Have you ever lived or seen some shady housing? Have you ever had a garage collapse on you?
No, I've heard the stories though, but I'm really fortunate to live in a nice house off campus with a few other girls, and it's relatively new, and there aren't any structural issues or maintenance issues that we've really come across. So I'm in a good position, but I have heard stories about bad situations.
Yeah, well, and so has the city council. So the San Luis Obispo City Council, let's see, they had, it came before public comment on May 5th. So that was actually the last time we read the show. And there was a 3-2 city council vote in December of last year directing staff to draft the ordinance. And the objective of this is to eliminate unsafe rental housing conditions and preserve safe, livable, and attractive neighborhoods. And they're targeting all residential rental properties, including 1 or 2 dwelling units within the city limits. And they're proposing an ordinance that would require inspections every 3 years. So I guess the stories I've heard and the stories I've seen would be like, rental they'll enclose, or they'll like turn the water heater closet into a little bedroom, or they'll put a wall down the middle of a room to make 2 rooms out of 1 bedroom, but there's only 1 window and 1 door, and illegally closing in attic spaces, all this kind of stuff. And I know the fire department does inspections, and they've caught a lot of those things. But I guess this is one step. But I'm not sure if they're inspecting all units. I think that was the thing. So this would expand it to all units, even like if you had a single family house, they're going to come in and take a look at it every 3 years.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of debate, for and against. I would assume that in general, well, I don't know. So the arguments are, yes, we might get safer housing, but this will increase the rates of rentals if they're having to do a lot of repairs, or if there's the looming threat of the possibility of having repairs imposed. Yeah. So, and that brings us to the next thing, which is Cal Poly's new master plan. Have you had a chance to look at this more? I know you've been really busy.
Well, I the only things that I've seen are those diagrams showing the different the program areas, or the proposed new kind of neighborhood areas.
Right. Yeah. Here's I'm putting it up on the screen here, and we'll have a link to this in the show notes. So Cal Poly has proposed several different plan alternatives for the master plan, and one of the big components of this is they want to. Well, there's 2 big things. They want to move all the traffic to the perimeter, as they've been slowly doing over the years. But they have a goal for, I forget what the percentage is, but it's a large quantity, like 30% of upperclassmen to be able to live on campus. Which, have you ever known anyone other than a freshman who's lived on campus, Carly?
I know that there are sophomores that live usually in the apartments towards the back of campus. But yeah, just freshmen are mostly living on campus.
So the apartments at the back of campus, are those up in this region?
Exactly. Yeah, Poly Canyon Village is mostly for 2nd and 3rd years too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, those didn't exist when I was there. They're pretty recent.
Yeah, so really nice.
Now, do they have shuttles down from there, or do people take bikes? How do you get from back up there?
Well, people bike or walk. The walk isn't too bad, but it is about the same kind of commute as if you're living off campus.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's walkable.
Right. And then also they want to include the potential of a Greek village on campus, bringing the Greek housing with movie theaters and shopping, and then maintaining this large open space from Dexter Lawn up through the new science building, and then another activity center around the UU and the Performing Arts Center. And they've actually got, I guess, ideas to replace Mott Gym with something. Which that's is pretty old. On this exhibit here I'm showing, it says Mott replacement.
That's sad because I like Mott Gym.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of basketball games there.
Yeah,
so
memories.
Yep, things change. Yeah, but this is a 20-year plan. This diagram here, which is too small to read, this master plan goes out to like 2035, somewhere in there. So right now it's just in the vision stage. They still have to get it approved. They got to send it out for public comment. There's a bunch of analysis and review by the regents, and CSU Board of Trustees has to approve it. So it's a long ways out. But take a look, everyone. It's at masterplan.calpoly.edu. So, and it's funny, Q Kim, he shared that article with us to talk about on the show, and he said it was, what did he say? He had some witty comment, like, here comes UC Cal Poly, or UC San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're growing so rapidly that it's really necessary to expand the physical boundaries. So I'm glad they're doing it.
Well, the number of applicants applying for the freshman year, every year it's a record number.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Even between my year and the current application, like just this year has there's huge growth, even just in the department itself. It's amazing.
Well, I think when we did the show, like your freshman year, we had the title of the show, I think it was that year, like the smartest freshman ever.
Oh, yeah.
Your class coming in, they had the highest SAT scores, the highest GPAs ever.
Well,
but it keeps stepping up. Like the last 5 years, it's just gotten more and more elite.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's, limited number of space.
That's true.
But I know for the community in San Luis Obispo, like they really like their quietness, their solitude. They like the students to stay up on campus and not bother them in town.
Yeah.
So, so here's a cool building. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Where is it? Aha. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen with the world here so everyone can see it. Have you ever been to Belgium, Carly?
I have not yet, at least.
Well, if you ever go to, I'm going to butcher the name here, Borglum, and the architecture group Gisch van Fahrenberg. Oh no, I'm butchering. The link's in the show notes. They built this church, which has 100 layers of stacked steel. What do you think about this?
So beautiful. I just love these images, especially that one where it's floating, just hovering above the ground.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So they layer these steel layers, or they stack these steel layers with offsets. So depending on your angle, you can see through certain portions of the building. And you're right, this one looks like the whole center of the section of the church is gone because your eye level is looking at that point. And then inside, it's like the outside is just there. There's no walls, it feels like. And then from one angle, it looks like there might be a tree on the ground floor and some sort of cross or wings, or I don't know. It's amazing that types of shapes and images you kind of get. In this image, it looks like the whole thing is not even there. It's just a bunch of little points randomly in space. So very cool. This popped up on sunnyskies.com, which is just a random blog, and they pulled these images from Soko Hilton, who's a user on Imgur. I guess he must live near Belgium. Who knows?
I'd love to see the process behind that building.
Yeah, I wonder how much thought they gave into like some of these shapes.
Yeah, the angles and everything.
Right. Because I imagine if you modeled it all in the computer, you could probably get pretty close. But then fabricating it and aligning all these little offsets at just the right position, like, what kind of plans would you have to have for that?
Yeah. Oh boy. Not fun to go through those plans.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to model it with like a 3D printer, it'd be a piece of cake. But building it in real life, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrong link. Let me find my right page here. Quick. Oh, not that one. That was okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen while I find the right link here, because I lost it. But did you know that there's a new book coming out that contains the blueprints of, Star Wars stuff, from the ships to the buildings, the droids.
Star Wars fans' dream right there.
Well, you could rebuild the Empire. With this book. You could build your own Death Star. I'm not sure how fully functioning it would be. Yeah, so the book, they're only releasing, I think like 5,000 copies, but there's going to be 200 detailed drawings, 500 photographs. Here's a blow up of one of them. So this is a plan of the Millennium Falcon. And I had no idea they created these for the movies. This is really detailed, showing all the different spaces inside. And, they've got dimensions on these things. Like, here's one of R2-D2.
So cool.
Well, I guess it's just a generic R2 unit, but R2-D2 is the only one I really care about.
Yeah.
And do you remember what the name of this ship is? This was...
I can't tell.
Was this the one that
familiar.
Jabba the Hutt was on with on the Empire Strikes Back?
Oh man, my nerd
I don't know.
Levels are really low right now. I
haven't watched these movies in a long time.
Yeah,
I need
it's been a long time.
But here's another thing, and then we're back to the first one. So I don't know how you get your hands on one of these things. I would imagine with only 5,000 being issued, they're going to be highly sought after.
Yeah, pretty expensive.
Probably cost a little penny.
Yeah.
So you, Carly, have a little bit of a secret about your Star Trek
Star Wars.
Oh, yes. Star Trek. Oh man, okay, I'm getting hate mail now. People are going to be writing into the show. So you have a little secret about your Star Wars fandomness.
Oh yeah, I grew up with it. I'm definitely a self-proclaimed Star Wars fan.
And to prove it, I stumbled across a picture here on Facebook, actually, which I think you first posted on Instagram. And This was you as the body double for Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia.
Yeah, I actually was in the movie. Can't really tell because it was the back of my head, but I was a stunt double.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you really have aged well. Like if you put Carrie Fisher side by side with you, she looks 30 years older. You look the same age. It's amazing.
Yep. Just that good.
Okay, so really, what is the story behind this I just showed? And it will be, well, actually, I don't think we'll put it in the show notes. You need to watch the show live if you want to see this.
Yeah, well, I mean, the story behind that is actually I created it for the architecture publication for my studio. We're kind of theming our studio based on Star Wars, and every student is photoshopping their own face on a Star Wars character of choice. And so I chose Princess Leia to show my face and have that imagery and kind of go along with the rest of the theme of our studio. But it's pretty funny. It's a lot for fun, more so than for design.
It's a really well done Photoshop drawing, or rendering.
Thank you. It took me, I don't know, Photoshop, I don't know.
Composite, maybe?
Composite, yes. Yeah. It took me like 5-10 minutes. It was really easy because I had a perfect angle of my face.
Now, did you shoot your face for this, or did you just happen to have a picture lying around that worked perfectly?
I happen to have a picture from my senior portraits that I just plopped right into the character's face and did a little bit of dodging and burning, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's perfect. It looks like you were there.
Well, yes,
cool.
thank you.
So now, are these going to be the images for the show? Are we going to see these at Chumash on the side of your project there?
I'm not sure if we're going to show it at Chumash. It might be somewhere, but we definitely, my studio, we have some really good Photoshop jobs. Like mine does not even compare to, we have a Yoda, we have a Chewbacca, man. We have a few really interesting characters. So
those are hard ones to do. How would you do Yoda and Chewbacca?
Oh, it's amazing. I'll have to send some to you, but hopefully they'll make their way to Chumash. But if not, they're online somewhere because our studio's been having a great time making those things.
That's awesome. Very cool. That's fun stuff. Yeah, I was looking. Your studio did have a Facebook page advertising your show coming up on Wednesday, like an event page. But I didn't see any other images on there of Star Wars stuff.
Right. That was it's technically it's not our official studio theme for our gallery itself. Our theme is more of a like Ocean's 11 kind of like suits and ties and
nice.
Yeah, and so it's more of a formal thing for our gallery itself. And that's been advertised a little bit, but we're going to put up posters. We just actually came out with a poster that we're going to post all over campus and online and things, and get more advertising going over the next couple of days before our show on Wednesday.
That's very cool. Mm-hmm. Sounds like you've got a good studio. Everybody's really involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love them. They're awesome.
You know, it's funny. Like I actually the last couple of days just ran into somebody from my 5th year studio, Pamela. And we were, reminiscing and catching up on everybody and what they were doing. And I'd never met her husband before, actually. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because we were working on this project together, and there was a bunch of us there. Mm-hmm. And her husband Brett was there, but I didn't realize that they were married. And so, we're just hanging out. And then, like, she'd made some comment about how he had brewed some homebrew beer for their wedding. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else was like, "Wait, are you two married?" I was like, how did I not know this?
Wow.
But, and it's years later. So I'm sure you'll be friends with those people for many years to come.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
So speaking of many years to come, there was an article that came out on architecturalreview.com back, it's already April 24th. Time flies. So this is by Rainier de Graaf, and the title of the piece is pretty inflammatory. It says, "Architecture is now a tool of capital, complicit in a purpose antithetical to its social mission." And he talks about how in Europe there's, and I can't get the article back up, you get to get on their website once for free, and then you go back and they want you to pay. But he talks about how in Europe they're blowing up all these housing projects and big social residential blocks, and they're bulldozing them and then putting in these multi-million-dollar or multi-million-pound residential flats, and basically talking about how the social mission of architecture has been eroded and forgotten, and now architecture is just a tool to make money for developers and the rich. You're coming out of school, and you're planning your career and what you're going to do next. Like, have you given much thought about how you're going to balance that mission of that social purpose of architecture with making some money to survive?
Yeah, there's definitely a balance, and different people kind of go their own way. But I think in my case, I have a heart for social architecture and architecture for the people, and so I do think a lot about social equity and things when I think about design, especially for housing. And so yeah, I think I'd love to take that direction if I could work for a firm or a company who does who keeps that, like, has that a priority, in their like mission statement, and it would be good to be a part of kind of helping that cause.
Yeah, I like what you said about a balance, because you could, I guess, put together a nonprofit what's the organization you're doing your thesis project with?
It's Journeyman International.
Yeah, Journeyman International, right? So you could do something like them, where all you do are social projects, or you could go to the other side where you're just, in the pocket of developers, and you just go for the highest bidder and just do whatever makes the most money. I know in our firm, I don't know if we have the balance just right yet, but we do a certain percentage each year of our work as pro bono, and we try to take on causes or clients that we feel wouldn't be able to get the best architecture if they paid for it, because they don't have the budget, right?
Right.
So we would pick somebody who we really want them to have a good design that's going to affect a lot of people. Like right now we're doing some work for the Boy Scouts in one of their Boy Scout camps, and we're doing some work with the Catholic Church. In the past, we've done some work with a client who we felt was being targeted by a high-profile person in the community. So we donated our services to help them get through this challenge. So we kind of pick and choose and do those little things.
Yeah.
But on the other side, we do get these projects where it's all about the dollar, and it's really hard sometimes to say no, especially when you're hungry.
Yep. It's hard.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
I don't know. It's something that hopefully I'll figure out by the end of my career. I've still got a few years to go. I'm not done.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So speaking of things that need balance and are broken, the AIAS has been doing a study to assess the studio culture. And they've talked about how the status quo of sleepless nights and this kind of rite of passage of just being impossible to get through architecture school really is broken, and it's not conducive to good education, right? So I know when I was there at Cal Poly, there was one guy in particular who was the epitome of what's broken with the architecture studio process. Like he would he'd sleep in really late, like wake up just in time to get to studio. He'd miss his GE classes and his other classes, and then he'd be in studio late, and then he'd work until like 4 a.m, and they go to sleep. And it was just, he was a mess.
Yeah. Yikes.
So balance, how have you, I know you haven't done that. So what have you done to maintain the balance through the last 5 years? And would you recommend anything to maybe the people who are coming up?
Yeah, I think the key to managing that studio lifestyle is managing your time, first of all, and understanding your own priorities with like physical health and emotional stability, and just taking care of yourself. Yeah, I personally prioritize sleep over maybe having a little bit better project. And I choose to make maybe small sacrifices for my own personal health, just because I think that that school or studio, maybe it's not as important as my health, and as I think should be the mindset that in the scheme of things, what's really important to you. So
that's good advice, and I think that's a good way of looking at it. Not just in studio, but really as you kind of progress on through your career. I know for me, I probably don't prioritize sleep as much as I should. There's some times where I am up late working way too late, and then I've got to get up early to make it down to a meeting or something. And there's been times where I've overworked myself, and then I end up getting sick, and then I can't work at all, or I'm a lot less effective. And my mom, she's always on my case. She's like, "Tim, you got to take care of yourself." But yeah, if you can figure that out now, this doesn't get any easier. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I was going to say maybe you could find a job where you kind of just settle in, you work your 9 to 5, and you can kind of, turn it off and go home and do your thing. But just thinking through the people I know, especially people who have kind of your personality, Carly, where you do things, you're not just sitting back relaxing. So,
do things.
I mean, I'm not sure how to say it, but you're engaged, I guess, right?
Yes.
So it's hard
Thank you.
just to, yeah. So it's it's a difficult balance. Well, we didn't get the Carly job search update. So
Oh yeah.
I put in a good word for you with Danielle Liu,
Mhm.
and she said, unfortunately, if you didn't apply directly to her department, she probably won't have a lot of input on hiring for you. But if your name came up, she put in a good word.
Mhm.
Any word yet from Disney?
Still nothing, and I understand because they're a huge company and they probably have so many applicants to go through and a lot of logistical things. But yeah, I've been waiting for a really long time. I really hope to hear either a yes or no. It doesn't really matter. I just want to be able to plan because it's hard. It's hard having to wait, and I'm still searching for jobs elsewhere just as a fallback. But
Right. So are you looking in Southern California, or do you have a preference on where you go?
I don't have much of a preference. I want to stay in California because I'd like to be close to my family in Central California. But I do. I'm kind of between LA and San Francisco Bay Area right now
Yeah.
as to where I'd like to be for the next 5-10 years of my life.
That's a hard choice.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived in either of those areas?
I lived in San Francisco for most of last year, and it was
okay.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did a work study program
All right.
thing there, and it was great. So I could totally see myself up there, but I also spent a little bit of time in LA, and I'd like to spend more time down there if I can, because I
Right.
found that a really exciting place, and the architecture is really cool, and those big cities have very different flavors, and it's a big toss up. But
Yeah, they really do. And it's funny, like people that I went to school with who've settled down in Southern California, like, they love it. And then people who have come up to the Bay Area, like, they love it. I think either way you go, you're probably going to be okay.
mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I have to grab my charger really quick.
Oh no, the battery's dying. Not a problem. Well, we're on our last thing here. This is a quick survey for you, and maybe this will help inform your choice of which company you end up working with, because this matrix here put out by ArcDaily is which architecture software is right for you. So Carly, we're going to do this real quick before your battery dies.
We're all good. Just had to change locations.
We're going to figure out what software program you should use, and then you go out and find a company that uses this software.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Okay, so first question. Do you want to work in 2D and 3D, or BIM?
I like BIM.
BIM. Okay, so from there, do you like to work by yourself or with others? What's your preference?
That's okay. I like to work with others.
Okay, so that weeds out ArchiCAD Starter Edition. Okay. What size projects would you like to work on? Small to medium, or small, medium, large?
Small, medium, large.
And extra large. Okay, so now, do you need a multidiscipline solution? So do you want your consultants to be able to use the same sort of software, or do you want to just be kind of stuck in your own little world and then just say, you guys figure it out?
Well, I like multidiscipline. Being able to.
I probably set that question up in a very biased way.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means that your two choices would be Bentley AECO-Sim or Revit, which is put out by Autodesk.
I do like Revit.
Yes, both good project platforms. Now, let's say you didn't care about multidisciplinary. Do you want to spend under $8,000 for a software license, or you don't really care about how much it costs?
Under 8,000.
Okay, I can see you got the college student mentality here.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So then your two choices: if you want your consultants to all use the same software, Revit would be your choice. Or if you just kind of want people to use their own software packages, then ArchiCAD would be a good solution for you.
Mhm.
And if cost wasn't an option, you can always go with Frank Gehry's Digital Project, which who knows how much that costs, but
Oh my gosh.
more than $8,000.
Wow.
So,
Is it really worth it? Must be.
Yeah. Well, good news for you. Revit is in high demand right now. Over the last several days, I've had multiple emails from people saying that they were looking for people with experience in Revit to come work for them. So,
Mhm.
in fact, I think last time we talked, I was going to pass on some contact information to you, and I forgot. I will do that
no
right
worries.
now. I'll pass on some leads to you, and maybe something will turn up.
Yeah.
Okay, we went over by 7 minutes. I promised you a 30-minute show, everyone.
Totally fine.
We went over.
You're good.
Well, we almost had a battery die on us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm safe now at my charger.
yeah, these overages have consequences.
Mhm.
Okay, well, we will see everybody next show. Our next show is going to be recorded live on May 19th, which is the Tuesday right before Chumash, and Carly will be super stressed out.
Hopefully not.
Haley will be on the show to talk about the American Architecture Board, which we talked about last week, and she has some insight with her work with AIA about that. And believe me, it's not good. So that's a cliffhanger for you guys to all tune in next show. And go to slowark.com, donate. We are going to be going to Chumash. It costs us quite a bit of money and travel. Q and I both travel over 7,000 miles to get to Chumash. I mean, no, not 7,000 miles, Carly. The United States isn't even that wide.
Like, where are you going to get there?
We're going to space and back.
Yeah.
No. Well, Q's coming from San Jose, and I'm coming from past Sacramento, and so we got those expenses. We've got expenses to run the show, get it up, and then also we really want to start the scholarship program. Right now, all the funds you donate, until we get that scholarship program, all those funds are going to be going to a scholarship program. So, slowark.com, donate, and then send us a message if you want to be part of the scholarship selection committee, because we're putting that together. We want that to be comprised of just Cal Poly Architecture alumni, and you will have a say in which of the current and future students will be eligible for these scholarships. So, very cool.
Awesome.
Anything else we missed, Carly, that we should mention?
Not that I can think of. I think we covered it all.
Okay, well, good luck with your show this week. And
Thank you so much.
thank you for coming on and doing this.
No problem.
You're a trooper.
Good little studio break.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is an excuse not to work.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a good night, and we will talk to everyone next show.